Hello there gang, DD here with another Past Blast, which we should be playing a little bit of Slipstream 5000, a futuristic racer nonetheless. So what do we get content wise? Well, the good thing, you get some settings. All we use like settings on this channel, so let's have a look at what ones we get. One thing you might want to do is turn your rear monitor on but leave your weapons monitor off. That just lets you see when you fire a heavy weapon. It gives a little camera view, which just means more clutter on the screen. Rear monitor at least lets you see what's behind you. And obviously your track map's probably a good idea as well. These are your graphic settings. Because of the age of the game, not a great amount. And then some sound. Worth noting that speech is here, which you can turn on or off. You'll see why when we get started. And finally your controls. Controls are fully rebindable. Select your joystick or mouse and keyboard and bind it all here. And you'll notice there's not a great amount of controls available. It's just something we'll talk about when we get in to the game itself. And finally, your reverse accelerator. Suggest you turn that on, and again we'll see why soon enough. And finally your difficulty level, 3 difficulty levels of course, normal, easy and hard. And then finally your damage on or off. So we shall get moving with what we've got. So 2-player just was a split screen, or it could be linked with another 2 PCs playing it on the linked network. But no internet connection as such. So outside of that, we might as well look at the single player. And you get a practice, pretty much self-explanatory. You get the single race, which we'll look at very shortly. And then finally you get the campaign. The campaign, now depending on your difficulty level, if it's easy it's 6 races, if it's normal it's 8 races, and if it's hard it's all 10 races which you have to complete, but there's also some more voiceover and interaction goes on in that. So we'll dive on to a single race. So there's 10 craft in total. And as you see here, if we pick on one quickly, you can get a little bit of blurb about the driver, because each has a driver. Doesn't make any real difference who the driver is. You can have a little look and hear some of the...
Excellent wheels, man! Inimitable words indeed.
Yeah, enough of that I think. But yeah, so this is the first issue. The vehicles don't seem to have any particular difference, because of course 1995 this game was released. Now at that same time of course Wipeout was released for the PC and the PlayStation. This was a PC only game. Of course Wipeout, the vehicles were quite considerably different. A Physar was completely different to say Oricom. Here there seems to be no real particular reason, so I'll pick the Surf Dude just because. There are 9 other competitors at all times, so we'll accept that. And here's the tracks. When you first come to the game, these will be locked up until you unlock them by winning. So that's a good track. They're all fairly decent in all honesty. The only weak one really is New York there at the end. The rest are pretty good. We'll do London. London's quite a good track. So now this section here, your hangar, this is more to do with, this is more important in the campaign. As you see, we've got $750 US at the moment, and we can spend it on something, but not a lot of course. In the campaign of course, as you complete races and pick up throughout the track, you get more money to spend, so you can upgrade your vehicle. So if we look at the weapons for example, you have a left and a right pod, and you could fit these different weapon types into each pod. But we don't really have the money to really have anything there of anything of any worth, so we won't worry about that. You get better turbos. In fact, I shall buy that one there. And then finally systems. That increases the rate of your standard blaster, which is equipped to Warcraft. The targeter gives you a bigger crosshair, and the loader just lets you carry more ammunition if you do have a more powerful weapon set up. So with that all done, we might as well just dive on in and start the race and get weaving. So this is the first reason why you want the reverse thrust thing set on, for reverse acceleration. It means it will automatically keep the thrust down for you. That was a terrible use of my turbo there. That was my fault, very sloppy. And it means that the key that you normally use to accelerate acts as a sort of brake. There's no direct braking in this game. Oh, I missed that pickup there as well. So that's why it's much easier to have... What's that? Oh, boost. Yeah, like that. I find it much better to just leave the accelerator on and then use it to brake as and when you need to, or as close to braking as you can get. Now let's repair. Oh, boost just in time. You also see the tracks have plenty of different splits and it's very hard to pick those ones off the ceiling. You often have splits and winding paths to take down. Did we get that? Yes, we did get that right. You have to stick between your turbo boost or your weapons. You have to select through them using the select button. Also notice we're being shot now. It's not particularly easy to avoid being shot. As you can see, the tracks aren't particularly wide. And the controls, obviously, I am playing with my Xbox controller. You can do it with a keyboard if you wish, but that's very, very challenging, unfortunately. So the Xbox controller is definitely an improvement. Although if you've got a flight stick, you'd be even better to use that if you've got it. That's probably a totally fine. Which, no, that was fine. That was fine. That was my fault. I should have moved. You see, your basic blaster, it does a bit of damage. It also slows them down if you land a hit on them. Let's keep it turning here. Oh, just clip that roof. So that's one of the first issues. Sometimes the collision handling in this game isn't the greatest. It does. It has to be on all honesty. Oh no, that's not what we wanted. That, as you can probably tell by it being red and what looks like a cross, it reverses your controls. Because there's pickups that are naturally spawned on the track, and there's little white drone things flying around. If you shoot them, drop pickups, but sometimes they're that one, which is not the one you want. Still, we've managed to get into second place, so it's not too bad. That was a very sloppy bit of handling there. So all in all, I suppose it's definitely distinct from Wipeout. Ah, that was a train. At least we've got a bit of repair there. And again, there's two types of repair. Oh, didn't want. That was close.
Sustaining blaster damage.
Accidentally hit the wrong button there. Good grief. Alright, so I've got more repair there. So you hit me with a... Here's something. In this race, the AI seem to get enough money to get a fair selection of more funky weapons than you do. They also seem to get a bit more in the way of turbo boost than you do. And this is only on normal, so the AI is not the most challenging, and the fact we're already in second place. So there I'm getting shot and knackered. But it's challenging enough. Unfortunately, there's this width of these tracks that's been trying to dodge when you're being shot at. It's not usually possible. You just sort of have to sort of suck it up and then hope you either find a pickup for repair or get into the repair bay. I should have gone into, really, just to show you it more than anything. Oh, no, that was me. That was my sloppy controlling. But yeah, if you've got something like a flight stick, you'll do better here. Because yes, of course, Wipeout, you didn't really have a big vertical element of control. Whereas this one you obviously do. So there, look at that. You can torpedoing out of nowhere. They definitely get more turbo than you know. You can get the other pickups as well, I bet you. They do good like that, the AI. Bit of a swizz. There you go. So it's not, even here in a fairly open place, There's not a lot I can do to avoid that. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's annoying. Here's the, this does at least recharge my turbo, so even if I don't get the pickup, I can at least get the waving up here. Yeah, if you shoot and damage with your lasers, it does slow them down at least. And of course, conversely, if they shoot you, they slow you down. There's some interesting weapon types, but there's nothing quite as funky as the weapons that you found in... Certainly about not handling collisions very well. They were in Wipeout. There's no quake bombs or things like that. And each weapon does... Some weapons will do more damage to handling controls, more damage to engines. Oh, we're down at 4th. Oh, we're down at 4th now. This is going badly wrong. You know, it's pretty decent all in all. You get the 10 tracks. They're all pretty good apart from New York. Mainly because it's supposed to be set like on an ocean. It sounds random. Oh, see, they always pick up the good stuff. But it's done with a sort of like wireframe cage. Oh, I totally timed that wrong. I just completely wasted that turbo there. That's okay. We're not too bad. We've got much damage, and we've another pickup there. This is a repair. And another control repair. So yeah, there's not really much I can do to avoid him till I get into some sort of hard cornering, really. Yeah, it's not terrible though for its time. It doesn't hog the line or anything like that. We've got, oh, no, we've still got one more lap to go. Yeah, and 6 laps in a race. Oh, that was just me being sloppy there. So you don't really have a... It's much harder without braking and that to get into a bet didn't pick that up. So you've got to be so absolutely spot on, dead bang centre of things to pick them up in this game. Yeah, like I want another repair. Seems absolutely insistent that it wants me to be repaired. Shit, I'm just getting enough hammering enough to... As you can see down at the bottom left, you also have to watch out because your cannon energy drains. You can't just spam your guns all the time because even there, they're limited. It's to stop you just annihilating each other before you get weaving, I suppose. So all in all, this is a pretty good experience. It's definitely not as good as Wipeout, in all honesty, because of the fact the vehicles were very much different in Wipeout. The tracks in themselves are pretty good, but the music, of course, is not along the same lines. You've got the old classic MIDI tunes and not a lot else. I'm going to shoot that there. Ah, right. Oh, we won! Ha ha! And it's even got a replay function as well. Which is click on the replay, and you can actually, using the F keys, you can actually scroll through different angles. It's only mentioned in the manual, not anywhere in game. So yeah, if you're after a fun little old school 3D racer, this is it's not very expensive. I think it's £3, £4, something like that. It's not at all expensive. Then you could do worse. The graphics, of course, as you can see, like in this age, the tunnels are all very much just big sections of square lines, line sections all angled off. There's no real curves in that. The handling can be a bit manky. The collision detection, as you've seen, can be a bit rough. Sometimes you just roughly scrape aside. The next time you roughly scrape aside and it will crash you. But it always points you in the right direction when you recover. Easy, probably not worth playing because it is just too easy. Normal, it's just you start out and work you up to hard. Campaign is decent enough because you get the extra stuff from the TV presenters, the pundits, and yeah, that's just, you see, you soon get bored of their in-race chat though, so that's why you might want to turn the chat off. They do have a very limited amount of lines, but it's a nice little touch. But yeah, all in all, decent experience. It's actually aged pretty well, in all honesty. Sort of slight clumpiness of the graphics, of course, but the speed's not too breakneck. So it's just it's not quite as hard and punishing as Wipeout 1 especially was pretty punishing. You had to be extremely precise. As you've seen here, you can afford to be a little bit more sloppy, at least on normal. So again, we'll conclude our dealings here. This was Slipstream 5000. Yeah, a good fun, a retro futuristic racer, I guess now. So anyway, gang, thanks for taking time to watch the video. Hope you found it useful and entertaining some way. And as ever, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe to let me know you're live. And I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.